Hi there, Ford owners. Today in your 2016 Ford F-350 Super Duty, we're going to be taking a look at and showing you how to install CURT's drop-in goose ball and safety cable attachments for vehicles with an OEM gooseneck prep package. So we're here in the back of our truck. You can see we've got our OEM prep package here. We've got our drop-in CURT kit, and here we can see it is a blown molded case, which keeps all of our components secure in their position. That helps to reduce rattles, keeps everything together for us. So we've got everything we need right here. It makes it easy to store this underneath like the back seat there in our truck when we're not using it. And the blown molding, again, it keeps everything nice and secure and safe. The only thing I dislike about blown mold cases is just their size. This is going to take up quite a bit of room in the back underneath your seat. But if you don't have any tools and a lot of things you keep underneath there, then it's probably not going to bother you at all. Now, the first thing we need to do before we pull our parts out of here, we need to get our covers off here, and they're kind of a plastic cover. You should be able to pull it up with your fingers. It's a little cold in the shop today though, so it's kind of painful to use your fingers. So we're going to use a trim panel tool. You could also use a flat bladed screwdriver, but in a lot of cases you can just pull it up by your hands, just that colder weather. So we're going to pop off the two here closest to the tailgate as well. We don't want the ones closest to the cab, just these ones here. That's for our safety cable attachments. There we go. So we've got those out of the way. We'll grab our ball and we can drop it in place. We'll take a look at it here before we do so. We can see the two balls here that hold it in place, and we're currently in the locked position, which if it was inserted, this would make sure it can't come out. We cannot insert it in this position because the two balls here prevent it from doing so. To be able to install it, we can see we've got the center mechanism here. You'll lift up on the mechanism, and just lifting it doesn't do the trick. They're still out. We'll need to then twist it 90 degrees, and then the balls can drop inside there. So now at this point, our ball will drop right down in there. We can give it another twist back, and then that'll drop into place. And we can see it's going to rotate inside of there, so it'll move with our trailer. And that's pretty much it. Can't come out of there. It's nice and secure. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at the ball here. So on top, right here where our ball is, oftentimes, you're going to lubricate this to minimize wear between your gooseneck coupler and the ball here. The thing is that when you go to remove this, this is now coated in grease, so we're going to have to get our hands messy to flip that up. And this is a pretty small little mechanism here, and if you got some dirt and debris and stuff in there, it could probably be difficult to twist. It's going to be even more difficult once we've lubricated it here, making it even slipperier. So it's not too big of a deal. I mean, it does twist. It comes in and out fairly easily. It's just that I know when we do this, you got grease on here, you're going to get a messy hand. So moving on from our ball now, we're going to insert our safety cable attachments. There's a pin located on top here, so we're going to open that up and slide that out. We're then going to remove the second pin down in there. We can see the bottom here is got the same shape as the hole here on our hitch, on our OEM hitch. So that'll drop right in there. We're going to go ahead and give it a twist 90 degrees, pointing that towards the rear. Then take our pin, drop that in place, and slide the other one in. And we can see that it does have some rotation there, but the pin that's down in there prevents it from being able to be pulled up. So that's pretty nice there, that at least it's not going to come out. I dislike how we got so many pieces here to work with. We're going to go ahead and move over to the other side, get that one installed, and then we're going to take a look at some of the competitors and how they compare. So I really like B&W's drop-in ball kit because it has a handle on it here, and that handle prevents you from having to get your hands dirty when inserting or removing the ball. It simply just drops down in place, and the handle being up right here is actually the removal, the release position, so we can insert it and remove it. To lock it in place, we'll push on the mechanism here on the handle, and then we just twist it back into place, and you can see that this will rotate down just like our other ball and everything, but we're locked in here, and we never had to touch the ball, and our center mechanism's not near our moving components where the coupler is. So I just prefer this. I feel like it's a little bit sturdier of a design, and again, I don't like to get messy if I don't have to. I do this for a living when I'm out having fun. I want to stay clean then. So here I've got a couple of safety cable attachments from the competitors. We've got one from B&W here, and we've got one from Reese here. And we're going to just install these real quick to show you how much simpler it is. On the B&W, that flips up, this twists, and that just drops in. So way smoother and easier to install than our CURT ones. Our Reese one is kind of similar. It's got a center mechanism here that you have to lift up, and that's similar to the B&W there. We can then come over here, drop that in, give it a twist, and then that'll drop down. It's not as smooth an operation as the B&W, but I still find this easier to use than the CURT, and there's no parts that we can lose here. All the mechanisms are made on here versus this. You know, you could actually lose this pin. You could lose this one here, rendering the, especially if you lose this one, you got to find something the exact right size, or you're going to have to buy replacement parts. So we've got our safety cables here. This is more of a traditional bumper style one, and this is something closer to what you would see on your gooseneck and fifth wheel trailers. If we look at our CURT here, no way this one's ever going to work. Oh, it's actually a little stuck. And then this one here, where it should work with most, you can see it will kind of just barely hook on there. Our clasp won't close though, so just keep that in mind. They are a thicker material than the other competitors, and it does make it a little bit more difficult to use. Now there is some powder coating on this, so it's probably gonna adding to it, and some of that's gonna wear off over time. But you can see it's thicker, but we have similar weight ratings with these as we do with our competitors here. Our B&W here, we can see that the smaller chain can hook on there. Our big one here hooks on very easily, and it clasps in place. And then over here on the Reese one, you can see our smaller one can hook on there, and our bigger one can as well. Not quite as smooth as the B&W, but I would still say much easier to utilize than the ones that come included with the CURT. When you're not using your ball, we take that out of there. You could reinstall the factory plastic cover, but you saw I did use a screwdriver tool to get this out in the colder weather. This can be pretty rough on your fingers. CURT has a rubber one that comes included with it here that you can insert in there, and you can display your logo of the brand that you're using, and also with it being rubber, it's easier to remove with just your hand. And that completes our installation of CURT's drop-in gooseneck ball on our 2016 Ford F-350 Super Duty.